President Tinubu joins world leaders in seeking ceasefire and end to humanitarian crisis in Gaza as joint Arab-Islamic summit holds in Riyadh. Enhancing climate financing tops agenda at Conference of Parties COP29 in Azerbaijan. Female military veterans inaugurate association poised to addressing challenges after service. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on Nta News24. We are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Olajide Bello. The Joint Arab-Islamic Summit is currently going on in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Finding a diplomatic end to the Israel-Hamas crisis tops the agenda, with world leaders emphasizing collective need to end the war in Gaza and humanitarian crisis. President Bola Tinubu is leading Nigeria's delegation to the summit. He says the world has a moral obligation to end the war as he advocates for a two-state solution and compromise to bring hostility to a halt.
I call upon all of us to come together in solidarity, to stand firm in our resolve, and to work towards peaceful coexistence, free from fear and violence. Together we can turn the vision of a two-state solution into reality. I say until then, we cannot relent.
The Conference of Parties COP29 begins in Baku, Azerbaijan, where for the next 2 weeks, nations will be focusing on climate finance and holding each other accountable for every action taken to limit or aggravate global warming. Environment correspondent Charles Afar is on ground in Azerbaijan to tell us more about how the event is unfolding. Charles, over to you.
This is Edra Aliyev Stadium in Baku, where the annual international gathering of countries that are signatories to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change are camping in search of tangible solutions to defining issues of our time. Yesterday, delegates started arriving to get their registration done and get down to business. So about 198 countries comprising governments, businesses and civil societies organizations are here to push for a lot of things, and climate finance, among other things, will be the focus of a global climate action needed for Earth to stay well below 1.5 degrees Celsius. At COP28 last year, developed countries like France, the United States, China, Germany, oil-rich Saudi Arabia made huge financial commitment to the loss and damage funds. But the questions here will be how many nations have been able to access these funds. So one of the agreements reached at COP28 back then in Dubai was the fact that countries agreed that nations should strive to keep temperatures well below 1.5 degrees Celsius. But what happened last year, we also saw a situation where the month of July was regarded as one of the warmest months in the year 2023. But new data has now revealed that in fact 2024 will be the most warmest year in the history of mankind, and what it means is that nations here are going to be holding themselves accountable for every action taken to mitigate, to limit or aggravate global warming. Executive Secretary of the United Nations Climate Change, Simon Still, in his opening remarks this morning, said one single COP can't deliver the full transformation that every nation needs, but as they meet here in Azerbaijan, they will be hoping government, business and civil society organizations will strike a balance to deal with the extreme weather events we all saw this year. For Nigeria, the National Council on Climate Change Secretariat, before this COP, had engaged negotiators whom they believe can deliver on all fronts for Nigeria.
The impact of climate change does not have boundaries. It affects each and every one of us. And so the talk at the plenary is, how do you drive resilience? How do you scale up resilience? How do you build resilience? Because without building resilience, we cannot talk about addressing climate action, climate change in the world over. And so how do we close the gap? How do we address this? Finance, finance, finance. And that is what this COP is about.
All of this is tended towards having a concrete roadmap that will help mitigate the impact of climate change in not just Nigeria, but every other country, especially the developing countries. From Baku, Azerbaijan, Charles Alpha, Nta News.
Many thanks, Charles, for keeping us up to speed on COP29. And back home, the Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy and Arts Resource says Africa's participation of the G20 Ministers of Culture meeting is an achievement for Africa's cultural diplomacy. Shaji Uguay reports that most of them at Salvador Convention Center in Brazil at the weekend, where she led the African Union to deliberate on Africa's rich cultural heritage and its role in promoting economic growth, social cohesion and global understanding. The minister, who doubles as the fourth vice chairperson of the Bureau of the Specialized Technical Committee on Youth, Culture and Sport in the African Union membership of 55 states, also thanked the G20 members for including Africa in the World Group. Notably, the minister held bilateral discussions with Brazil's Minister of Culture, especially on the rehabilitation of Nigeria's cultural house in Salvador as a vital center for preserving cultural heritage and supporting the Nigeria Destination 2030 initiative. Technology will continue to drive military components in containing terrorism and other high-profile crimes in a multidimensional and evolving threat to national security. Senate President Godswill Akpabio made the assertion in a message to the 2024 Chief of Defense Intelligence Conference holding in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Nigeria's 25 defense advisors and attaches, accredited to 90 countries across the globe, attending the 2024 Chief of Defense Intelligence Conference. The annual platform reviews activities and make projections for enhanced operations.
In preparation for the current and future warfare,
the Chief of Defense Intelligence, who acknowledged emerging security threats, stressed the remarkable combat and intelligence operations in stemming criminal activities and announced plans to establish an intelligence technology center as a force multiplier for proactive intelligence gathering.
Which will be responsible for clandestine reconnaissance operations, utilizing the latest cutting-edge technologies and innovations. We are determined to improve how intelligence is collected, processed, and disseminated for operations through emerging technologies.
I am pleased to note the agency's commitment to integrating artificial intelligence, machine learning, and human analytics into its operations. These innovations will help process massive data sets and identify patterns that might otherwise remain undetected.
Our challenges are now only internal, hence the need to bring to bear experience in anticipating emerging threats and incidents within your area of coverage, and critically analyze their effects on Nigeria.
These attaches are Nigeria's diplomats and security eagle eyes abroad. The 2024 Chief of Defense Intelligence Conference is focusing on exploring the role of technology in strengthening regional and national security. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, Nta News.
The Acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has held a strategic engagement with Army formations and units under the 8th Division area of responsibility to boost troops' morale and operational capabilities in combating escalating crimes under the Northwest Theatre Operation Hadarindaji. Bashir Ibrahim Nabab reports.
And Tangaza are among the local government areas grappling with activities of bandits and kidnappers that led to the displacement of many people and villages in Sokoto State. This operational tour by the Acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, is to obtain first-hand information, assess the security situation, and challenges the frontline troops are facing for appropriate action. Addressing the troops, the Army Chief commended them for their sacrifices and commitment in the fight against enemies of the state and urged them to remain vigilant so as to safeguard the territorial integrity of the country.
What are the challenges? Now, the issue is how do we react to those challenges? So one of the reasons why I'm here is the charge of my soldiers to brace up the challenge, and that we shall do.
The general officer commanding a division Nigerian Army Sokoto, Brigadier General Ibikule Ajosi had earlier briefed the acting chief of army staff on the general security situation in the state. Interacting with the local communities, the acting chief of army staff advocates closer ties with the troops and sister security agencies in the areas of information sharing and intelligence gathering to defeat criminal elements in the country. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, is seeking lawmakers' support for increased funding to be able to effectively carry out its mandate, especially tackling financial crimes emanating from emerging technologies. This is as the Anti-Graft Agency played host to the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption led by the chairman, Emmanuel Dende, during a pre-budget oversight to the Commission headquarters in Abuja. Tokwe Alabi reports.
The chairman Senate committee to sign the list of
Well, details of that report will come in our subsequent bulletins. Musliu Akisoya, also known as MC Oluomo, has taken the oath of office as the National President, National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, after being elected by the Southwest Zone of the Union. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
Taking the oath of office by the new leadership of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, to these chairmen and secretaries from all 36 states of the union, it could be said to be a new dawn for them as they are ready to steer the union on a better path. Musiliu Akisoya, also known as MC Oluomo, elected the new president, now becomes in charge of the union, with the vice president Tajuddin Ahmede, who emerged the vice president. One thing emphasized is the need for properly uniting the union with the target of better service.
I, Aliyu Isaure, the former acting president, now step down since the House has unanimously elected somebody to be the president. I'm now stepping down. I became my deputy president.
To lead the union to create high-duty airport. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you.
Some of the members spoke on their expectations from the new leadership with the determination to fully support them to move the union to greater heights.
We will not allow anybody, no matter who is that person, to destroy this union. This union is above all of us. No matter the wealth, no matter the money you have, no matter the position you are.
We know his intellectual capacity to steer the union to a new level. Then we are absolutely sure and always very guaranteed that the union will rise from where it is to next level.
Part of the resolutions reached by the union was the vote of no confidence passed on the former president of the union, Tajuddin Baruwa, while declaring him suspended indefinitely from the union. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
You're watching the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. Now, let's now go back to Tokyo Alabi for an earlier report on the EFCC receives a Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption Pre-Budget Oversight.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) 2024 budget proposal was 76.586 billion naira, representing a 53.48% increase from 2023 49.901 billion naira. The Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption, led by the chairman, Emmanuel Udende, are on a fact-finding oversight to evaluate the Commission's performance in the outgoing fiscal year.
What the executive brings is a draft. It's only when we agree and pass that it becomes law.
EFCC Chair Ola Olukoyede highlighted notable achievements, including asset tracing and recovery exceeding 260 billion naira, establishing a department to prevent fund theft, as he emphasized the need for increased funding to combat financial crimes enabled by emerging technologies ecosystems.
I don't need less than 300% of the last year budget you approved for me to work this year, and I must be serious. If you want this work to go on, there is a software I'm trying to procure just to investigate cryptocurrency and this the virtual currency trading and all of that, which is a major problem to us. The list will receive is 3.4 billion just for just one software.
The committee toured facilities initiated during Olukoyede's first year, with Chairman Udende expressing satisfaction with the progress.
When he's talking about proceeds of crime, once they recover these funds, we can tax a percentage. Like custom do, they are entitled to a percentage of whatever they get for the year.
Through this oversight, legislators assess whether existing laws and appropriations yield intended results. In Abuja, Tokwe Alabi, Nta News.
4 more Nigerians have won elections into various elective positions. They are United States-born Nigerian Dr. Oye Owulewa, District of Columbia; Chiaka Barry, Chilindera District, Australia; Shegun Adeyina, Georgia, USA; Yemi Bolade, Colorado Springs, USA. In a congratulatory message to them, NITCOM Chairman Abike Dabiri Eriwa hailed their victory at the polls and applauded them for breaking such records in the political arena of their different places of residence and setting standards. While Dr. Oye Owulewa was re-elected as the shadow representative for the District of Columbia under the Democratic Party, Chiaka Barry got elected into the Australian Capital Territory Act Legislative Assembly covering the Jindera District under the Liberal Party. Shegun Adeyina was re-elected as state representative of District 110, Georgia, USA, and Adeyemi Bolade elected as the mayor of Colorado Springs in 2023, making history as the first black person to attain such feat. Abike Dabiri recommended their relentless efforts and strives to success, urging them to keep up the resilient spirit as they carry out their duties respectively. In a remarkable display of gratitude and support, alumni associations across the nation are stepping up to give back to their alma maters. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria reiterates these spirits of giving as not just strengthening institutional ties, but also cultivates vibrant community dedication to lifelong learning and growth. Lydia Sampson report.
From funding scholarships to enhancing campus facilities, these former students are making a significant impact on current and future generations. Alumni of Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto, shared their success stories, emphasizing how their education shaped their careers and lives.
It does not just go beyond going back to the university, doing projects. I was in school with you. We were in class together. Today, maybe Providence is smiling on me and not smiling on you. I should remember those good days when we soaked Gary together, and I should come to your rescue.
When you did 001.
Thank you. I should. All these are part of alumni activities.
Observe that the youths are blending into the academic community by assisting the students and also picking up various petty trading businesses around, and even been employed in various departments as staff.
So we are gradually elevating certificates, instead of just certificates. So certification is becoming the trend in the world today. It's not just how you read and write. You must be able to put hands on the barrel and make a product and make something out of it.
They acknowledge initiatives like mentorship programs, reunions, and guest lectures foster connection between past and present students, enriching the academic experience. They are passionate about building partnerships and showcasing their skills in a positive way to uphold their institution as a peaceful and detribalized environment where students are encouraged to grow stronger through learning. They believe if replicated by all alumni, Nigerian universities and other tertiary institutions will become more successful in their efforts to develop their students. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, Nta News.
The Nigeria Customs Service is intensifying partnerships to bolster economic operations and enhance trade facilitation. This will top the issues at the 2024 Comptroller General Conference holding in Abuja, providing more information. And the conference, guests and Good Morning Nigeria say under the leadership of Comptroller General Bashir Adewale Adeni, Nigeria Customs Service aims to deepen collaborations with local and international stakeholders, including security agencies and custom brokers, to optimize revenue generation and combat smuggling.
Our borders, that is the land borders, are going to be manned from aerial surveillance, and that is using the satellite technology. We are moving into the geospatial intelligence era, and so many things are coming in to make things smooth and easy for customs operations.
So if you have non-intrusive inspection, one, there will be trade facilitation. Two, things that you cannot detect in your what you call 100% examination will be detected easily and you facilitate trade. Those are the issues we are doing to see if we can reduce and mitigate the rate of smuggling. Now look at our borders. We are trying to come up with them. It's not always coercive, always force. Sometimes you have to use persuasion. Sometimes you have to communicate effectively. Now, the CGC, in his wisdom, we are coming up with a comprehensive CSR policy, which we don't have one before. That CSR policy will give us an avenue to see how we can engage with other communities.
They noted the introduction of the Authorized Economic Operator program further exemplifies this strategy, offering benefits to complaint businesses while aligning with global best practices. They are emphatic that by leveraging technology and fostering constructive engagement, the Nigeria Customs Service is poised to significantly impact Nigeria's economic landscape. Ahead of the much anticipated legal framework and promoting a circular economy in Nigeria, the National Environmental Standards Regulation and Enforcement Agency, NESRA, continues stakeholder engagement and advocacy to water the ground. NGOs as grassroots partners benefited from the latest sensitization held in Abuja. Environment correspondent Nta Daniels was there.
The efforts put together by the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency NESRA to combat the menace of plastic waste and promote circular economy has yielded fruits, with a legal infrastructure soon to emerge. The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal, started this during a sensitization program organized for non-governmental organization by NESRA.
Together, we can educate communities on the dangers of single-use plastics, promote sustainable alternatives, for example, reusable bags, refillable bottles, support policy changes.
NESRA wants NGOs to take responsibility and begin the change from individual actions, as well as use their wealth of experience as frontliners to take the message to the hinterlands.
We think that we need to begin to sensitize them to the emerging and the evolving system that is coming. Where the legal framework emerges, nobody will say that it doesn't know that this is what is emerging.
Participants from various NGOs as well as stakeholders pledged support to NESRA in the fight to rid the environment of single-use plastics and curtail its menace in a bid to sustain environmental health.
Waste pickers are very, very important in the circular economy value chain.
We buy granite in one ladder, we buy this in another ladder, and what have you. But when we go with our basket, that will save us from wastage.
The sensitization featured a hybrid technical session and offered a platform for exchange of ideas and networking aimed at changing the narrative. In Abuja, Minna Daniels, Nta News.
And that concludes the news desk at 6. Many thanks for being a part of it. I'm Olajide Bello.